Hello fellow astrologers, welcome back to the next video in our Astrology Keyring Fundamental series. In this video we're going to be talking about Taurus the Builder. In our last video, C1, we talked about Aries. And in the natural progression, we're moving on to Taurus. So in this video we'll discuss a little bit about what Taurus is. We'll get into the sign breakdown and some of these cool clickable links. We'll go over here and talk about how it all interacts with the key ring. Then we'll come back and see what Google has to say about it. And afterwards, we'll go over the keywords. Taurus the Builder. Taurus is the steadfast second sign in the Zodiac, ruled by Venus and rooted in the earth element. Known for their patience, sensitivity, and love of comfort, Taurus thrives on stability and tangible results. Their fixed modality gives them persistence and loyalty, especially in their routines, relationships, and values. Taurus energy is slow to start, but deeply reliable, favoring quality over speed. They're naturally in tune with beauty, the senses, and the material world. At their best, they offer grounding, loyalty, and steady dedication. But when pushed or threatened, Taurus can dig in with stubbornness or become overly attached to comfort and routine. So like in all of our videos, we have a series of clickable links. If you want to click on any of these topics, it will take you to a Google search that will talk about these specific topics. And if you want to click on any of these links right here on the side of them, it'll take you to the actual videos like this one where we talk about what's going on in that section. So let's go over a little bit of this sign breakdown. The birth range of Taurus is April 20th to May 20th. So people who are born between those dates have a Taurus sun. Now if that's your sun sign, granted your Taurus could be in other things like Venus or Mars or something else. It just flavors it a little bit differently as opposed to your sun sign. Your sun sign is more of yourself, the self-identity, kind of like Freudian's ego, as opposed to the moon, which would be the id, and the ascendant, which would be more like your superego. But in this case, if you're born in these date range, your sun will be on those dates. So, the element of Taurus is the element of earth. It's very much an earth sign with stability and the need to actually have an accounting of things. The modality is fixed. Fixed makes it steady, so it's actually even more steady. One of the most rock solid signs of them all is the Taurus. We go here, we can actually click on and see what Taurus has to say with Google, but we're going to wait for a little while till we go over some more of these details. Let's talk about the ruling planet. The ruling planet of Taurus is Venus. Now, we did mention that Venus is shared with Libra, and we'll get a little bit more detail with those sharing when we talk about that in the planets. Venus is the planet of possessions and material things, as well as love and relationships. But that also brings us to the corresponding house, the second house. The second house is the house of value, and it connects very much so with Taurus. When you look right here, here's the second house, Taurus and Venus, and it is a earth fixed sign. As you see, we color code things like we did here with the element and modality, and here in the sign, you can see that it shows the triangle for the element of earth and the modality here for fixed signs. If you want to look at the other signs that connect to those, you can see where like the modalities are here and the elements are here. You can see how they connect. And once again, right here on the second line here, we're showing you where all these details are connected here. And you can see that laid out there. Okay, now let's take a look at Taurus in Google and a few of their websites. We use both to spot some patterns, see what to look for, and figure out what's correct along the way. You'll start to notice that there should be some similarities, and if we keep this practice up, you'll start to get better at recognizing those patterns. So let's go ahead and read. In Western astrology, Taurus is the second zodiac sign, spanning from approximately April 20th to May 20th. Ruled by the planet Venus and an earth sign, it is symbolized by the bull and associated with characteristics like stability, sensuality, practicality, and a love for comfort and luxury. That's a wonderful paragraph. Once again, they've also pulled out some of the details that was brought up in the paragraph itself and expanded on some of those details here. You can't do the deeper dive, but remember, every time you come back, it won't be exactly the same because Google always switches it up and updates things, and it won't be always the same. So let's scroll down. So we got some sponsored ads. You've got Wikipedia. We might come back to that one if we can't find something good. I might touch that one. Let's try Wikipedia again. Taurus, ancient Greek, Romanized, Latin for the bull, is the second astrological sign in modern zodiac. It spans from 30 degrees to 60 degrees of the zodiac. This sign belongs to earth element or triplicity, as well as the fixed modality, quality, or quadruplicity. That's interesting that they put modality, quality, or quadruplicity. They're all the same thing. Is a Venus-ruled sign. The moon is in its exaltation here at exactly 3 degrees. The sun transits this sign from approximately April 21st to May 21st in Western astrology. That's a good little bit of tidbit of information. You're probably not going to necessarily get all that when you go to some of these other sites, or you may have to go through a little bit to have it distilled down to some of these raw nuggets of info. It also goes over here and has some cool little nuggets of information here. Talks about Taurus, the earth sign fix. It even talks about the dignities. Now, a lot of times you won't always see dignities. It's something we bring up later on in D16. When we talk about the planetary dignities, we talk about the planets. But that's pretty cool that they bring that up. Now let's go back here and see who else has something. Quorum, let's see, magazines. 12 Western China. You know what? Every once in a while I like breaking out one of my old faithful, one of our top sites that we like going to, just so you can see something rich in detail. So let me pull out. Cafe Astrology usually has some pretty good stuff. Let's go down here. Taurus, about Taurus the bull. Here we go, Taurus. One of the reasons why I like this site, they have this good block right here that really gets into some of the things that you won't see everywhere. They talk about the location, like the throat and the neck. This is the part of the body for Taurus. Matter of fact, Tauruses are very commonly have a very melodic voice, like a radio announcer voice, or they have a tendency to be great singers. It's got some good keywords, talks about their second zodiac sign, the rulers, and all this other stuff. It's a great little tidbit. Let's read a little bit from the paragraph here and see what it has to say. Taurus personality is thought to be calm and peaceful, but when their anger is aroused, their temper can be wicked. Taurians are often quite disturbed by sudden changes. They prefer life's stable and secure. That's pretty cool. Goes on to talk about how persevering and strong the individuals are, but they can also be bullheaded. I also like to point out, every time I come down here, they have the symbols. They also have what the element symbol looks like, the planet, and modality. You don't see modality all the time. I like bringing that up when I see it because modality symbols are rarely shown in other places, but they show that. Now it gets into what your sun sign is. You can also scroll down and get the moon signs, Mercury, Venus, and Mars. It's pretty cool. We're going to be getting into some of that later on when we talk about the planets in the D series. That's a pretty good one. Let's go back. That was a good touch on Taurus. Now let's talk about those keywords. So whenever talking about specific details like signs, planets, and houses, we like throwing in the keywords to let you know a little bit about things that relate to that actual topic. Get a little bit better idea of what that sign encompasses. We always like to put some general keywords, some positive ones, and some negative ones so we can keep it in balance. So let's start out with the general traits. General: stability, comfort, value, security, senses, and possessions. Positive traits: loyal, grounded, sensual, reliable, practical, patient, persistent, and affectionate. Negative traits: stubborn, materialistic, possessive, lazy, inflexible, overindulgent, and resistant to change. These are some great keywords to explain what Taurus is. Now you may hear these keywords again because sometimes they share some of those keywords with other elements or modalities, but they still bring in some of the sense when you put it all together of what a Taurus is. Well, that pretty much covers Taurus the Builder. Stay tuned for the next episode, C3, where we talk about Gemini. We hope you have enjoyed this video from our Astrology Keyring series. If you like the content, please like, follow, and share with your friends. Thank you for watching and have a blessed journey.